Now, history is beckoning for Africa as the creation of a new multi-billion-dollar energy bank is being championed. The African exports by the African Export-Import Bank and the African Petroleum Producers Association. The plan for the specialized energy financing lend institutions comes as the debate on energy security versus energy transition get a whole lot hotter, and a number of energy summits are being held across the continent. There's a whole lot to unpack on the field of African energy, so I'm turning now to the executive chairman of the African Energy Chamber, AYUK, to discuss some of the biggest headlines in the news. A good evening to you, AYUK. Thanks for connecting with us tonight here on the show. Let's get started. It's a very busy time. How important is the move to create a specialized Africa Energy Bank? Why now?
What the questions would be why now? An African Energy Bank is needed so much at this time. We are facing a very difficult time in the energy industry where there was no financing into African energy, especially oil and gas. And I think it is no longer the time when we wait for Europe or wait for the United States to finance our upstream or downstream of midstream or energy infrastructure problem. Africans have to rally the funds to drive it and make this work and make it work at this time. There is no better time, and we have to give credit for the African Petroleum Producers Organization together with AFRIEXIM for really taking this monumental step. Get this done. The time is now. We just started. We need to rally together on our own transition rather than wait for foreign aid or wait for handouts coming from Europe or the United States. This is the time for Africa.
One of the energy bank how is it going to be financed? The partnership between AFRIEXIM Bank and the APPU here is very key. Why are these two? The APPU is the African Petroleum Producers Organization, where you have countries such as Nigeria, Angola, and others who are members who are top oil producers on the African continent. They're coming together with a strategic institution such as the AFRIEXIM Bank to set up this energy bank.
We have to put in the game in the energy industry. No longer should we always wait for others. So it's good for the petroleum producers that some of them are seeing some very good windfall profits out of the current spike in oil prices. But also, this is the time for us to say, if we are going to put our mouths and say we need to explore more to develop more gas, we need to develop hydrogen, we need to develop solar projects. This is the best time. And I think AFRIEXIM has brought a model that is tried, true, and tested, flexible, but also create an opportunity for Africans themselves beyond the states, private sectors, billionaires across Africa, mid-sized players, and everyday African citizen. They should be able to drive that and make sure that there's profitability. But one key caveat, which I really love about this, was an insistence to not get politicians involved. You know, I always believe when politicians touch anything, it becomes toxic. So they are not going to let politicians be part of it. So I am hopeful. And we are the chamber. We're going to continue supporting them, and we're going to continue driving this to make it a success.
One other big headline news in the last few days, last week, was the new hydrogen alliance that was formed by a few African countries, Mauritania, Egypt, and a couple of others. What's your view on that?
You know, I'm an oil guy, but I'm also a hydrogen guy, and most importantly, I'm an energy guy. I think hydrogen is going to be important. It's going to be a fuel that drives the future. We got to embrace it. We got to embrace all forms of energy: oil, gas, hydrogen, coal, and even wind and solar. But the real test that we're going to see here is how we deal with that hydrogen transformation. At the African Energy Week this year, we're going to be having a big, massive hydrogen forum. It should not only focus on green hydrogen alone, we should also embrace blue hydrogen. And I'll tell you why. Take for example, a country like Nigeria, Niger Republic, Senegal, Mauritania. Vast sums and amounts of hydrogen potential, sun, wind, you could use that. But also the gas resources that you see around Mauritania and Senegal and Nigeria, you could also choose that and convert that in blue hydrogen. So we got to embrace this, and especially using those low forms electrolyzers. But then we have to still see how we get the right kind of electrolyzers to really drive that. So it's going to look a lot around technology sharing, but we have to be careful about one thing. We have to create a hydrogen framework, a regulatory environment that is going to drive hydrogen in the continent, but also look at green or blue ammonia, and also look at how we're going to use hydrogen to drive up African economies, not just about sending it abroad to Europe and we still staying energy poor.
So, but how do you think Nigeria and other big Africa's oil producers should proceed on this issue of balancing energy security and energy transition agenda?
Number one, we got to drill more oil wells. That's just the first thing we got to do. The question here is not if we should balance. When you talk about energy security, we have to take care of our energy security first, because that is very important. And that energy security comes with energy access. 600 million people in Africa don't have access to electricity. 900 million people don't have access to clean cooking, most of them women. In Nigeria alone, this is what it's a disgrace. 70 million Nigerians have no access to electricity. And even those who have access to electricity, it is not there daily. They still have to stock up their generators and diesel fuel to be able to run that. So you cannot industrialize without stable electricity. So we got to take care of home first. And if we have to use gas, if we got to drill gas wells, if we got to go out there and promote that PIE and the benefits of it, this is the time. So part of it is that we have to also depoliticize it, and we got to embrace change, and we got to embrace different forms. But energy security at home gives more stability, and it creates jobs. It creates opportunities for everyday people. There is a silent majority around Africa and around Nigeria that are just waiting for hopes that they've not seen. And this is the time, and leadership has to really pay attention to this. Low taxes, limited government, driving the right kind of incentives to drive growth around Nigeria is so important now more than ever. And gas is going to be that driving force, and we should never back down on using gas.
Okay, AYUK, there's more to chat to on this after this break. Stand by, everyone. Stand by. AYUK will be back to you. Chatting to me on the latest developments in the world of energy on the African continent is NG AYUK, the head of the African Energy Chamber in Johannesburg. Thank you so much, AYUK, for standing by. Our last part of our earlier part of our conversation, the final part of that was, where is Nigeria? It's a big name when you talk about oil and gas and other form of energy. But again, where does Nigeria, where should Nigeria play when we talk about energy sustainability and the transition? The year 2022 is looking really busy right now on the energy calendar ahead of the COP27 event in Egypt. So what should be Africa's agenda at the summit? How should big names such as Nigeria lead this conversation, and when and how should we put it together?
First of all, I'm very disappointed where we are in our preparation to COP27. We are not ready. Africa is not ready. Nigeria is not ready. We have to push forward the conversation across the continent. I tell you this, after COP26, Norway in January this year put out 52 oil licenses. The United Kingdom have said they are going to advertise a new licensing round at the end of this year. Germany is building 2 new LNG terminals. They're importing more coal than ever from South Africa and other countries. The United States has opened all federal lands for drilling. But now the message across Africa is that Mozambique, Namibia, Senegal, Mauritania, or even Nigeria should abandon all their oil and gas on the ground. We should not be doing that. That is not the narrative that we should be taking to COP. We should be going to COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, and very clearly with a mandate that says that we are not going to leave our gas on the ground. We are going to drive that. What do we do now? we have to marshal an African discussions. The AU chair right now is out of Senegal. He's having that big MSGBC rally. We got a rally in Senegal. We got a rally in places like Uganda and South Sudan and drive these discussions. And of course, we got a rally at Africa Energy Week in Cape Town, and then go from Cape to Cairo and go there very forcefully with an African narrative, an African position. We cannot play defense anymore. We have to play offense. And if we continue sitting on the sidelines and we don't get on the table, we're gonna be on the menu. And I think that is important. We need to be on the table and not be on the menu.
For the Africa Energy Week, what does the road looks like right now for the Energy Week 2022? What special features should participants look forward to when the AEC assembled everyone later this year?
We are looking at a big conversation on Africa. We're looking at a big conversations on investments. I was in Europe a few weeks ago, and one of the biggest thing we came out with is that we came to an agreement that we got to sign deals. We got to put on new investment, and I think we are going to really work with AfriExim and Apple to really outline the measures around the Africa Energy Bank, so we can have financial sustainability for our industry. We will be able to correlate an African narrative for Cairo at AEC. We would be able to really see more deals being signed by upstream exploration companies, midstream and downstreamers. But also we're looking at a big play around hydrogen that's really going to reshape us. But what is most important is that Africans and the oil industry, we are going to be defining a narrative. And that's why I'm very thankful to the Nigerian Minister, Silva, for really becoming our biggest partner, our biggest sponsor, NNPC, coming on board, really driving us. A lot of indigenous Nigerian companies are having conversations with us, just like the major IOCs. And I think that sends a very strong message that Africa, we're turning around, we're taking this time. But look at countries like Namibia and Mozambique that have just seen a lot more movements, and even legacy producers like Congo and Equatorial Guinea. So we're going to build some regional cooperation. You'll be shocked by the deals you would see, because one of the things the chamber has done is followed up on deals, stay on it every day. Every day, keep pushing and keep driving to make sure that business is no longer left behind. We got to drive business up, and we are going to continue being the voice for business around the continent. This is what we must do. This is what this generation of Africans have to really drive, and it's up to us to change that African narrative.
Well, thank you so much and wish you all the best. We'll keep our eyes on you and the African Energy Chamber and those very important milestones that lie ahead for the continent. So far this year, it looks like the year is just getting started. Quite a whole lot lines to cross before the end of the year. Thank you so much, NJ AYUK, Executive Chairman at the African Energy Chamber in Johannesburg.